What's going on, YouTube? This is The Last Musketeer, and we are in the final part of part 4. So, I apologize, this one's going to be a little longer. I didn't space them out quite as well as I thought I did. I store them all into one folder per video, that way I know I can leave them all in order instead of doing daily. Sometimes I used to do them more daily, but I think it's easier doing it this way because you're going to get a week out of it regardless, and it's all in order, so you get an idea of what I was able to do compared to daily. If I had more time daily, I could go back to that style, but either way, we're on Lungmen Downtown, and this is my second playthrough after I made some adjustments. Look at the map, look at my operating squad, and saw, just what I wanted to change. I'm using Dusk as the support hero, and really cool hero. Very strange. I think she's in the caster class, but she uses a sword and has like insane amounts of AoE damage, plus leaves these little remnants when she eliminates an enemy, which is really cool. A very cool concept. Seems like a really strong hero, but the adjustments I made worked pretty well. Obviously, I'm not going to full clear this because these last few waves are very difficult, and I'm starting to lose defense as I'm going through. It might not have been a bad idea for me to bring one more defender, though I haven't worked another one up currently, so I'm going to have to wait till maybe I can get Cora or maybe Zerny in there. I look at his kit, and I think, he could potentially be one that would be useful in situations like this. I know he's probably more niche because he's more of an arts blocker, but the damage passive he has, at least on his first skill, seems really good, so maybe he's good, maybe he's not. Anyone that uses him, let me know. Maybe he's just more of a niche pick, but either way, the goal was 350 after I got this far. I managed to do that. The line was definitely slipping through. I was struggling a lot, and I didn't realize that there was these the heavy, like sledgehammer looking guys can knock out my hero. I did not know that because she went down and let them pass, even though she didn't get wiped at first. So really, it's just more to learn, more enemies to try to figure out, but I barely hit 350 before everything started to pass and to go really bad. But it's exciting because just on the second attempt, getting that far for me is a huge accomplishment. And so going forward, I can strengthen my heroes. Maybe this will go a little different. Maybe I can use Shaw to push off some people on bottom lane, and can use Gummy towards the middle. Either way, I was happy with my progress. So all in all, I've nearly completed all 3 of the permanent ones on a full completion. Very exciting stuff, and so now I'm going to have to go in and try out some of the rotating Annihilation missions, because I know they're going to be a lot harder, but they've got some really good rewards out of them. More of the harder to get resources, so I'm excited about that. But as you see here, I pull the 6-star out of the banner, gave you the Invincible, exactly who I wanted. I would have been fine with any of them. Posey, I think Chen, I don't know if Chen was an option, the alt version, or if it was just to buy with the headhunting merits, but either way, I know I'm not going to get to the headhunting merit. There's no way I'm getting 300 pulls at any point, probably as a free-to-play, but maybe if I saved for a long time. But one thing I do love about all the alts is that they have these alternate operator tasks, and you can get some really nice rewards out of there. There's not a ton out of them, but in a sense of, if you're leveling both versions of it up, you get extra rewards out of it, and I really like that aspect. I wish more of them had resources out of things that are not alternates. Would be a cool addition. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a big thing. It could be even a random, even as you're getting to a certain milestone, like E1 on a hero, you could get a little bit of a random out of it. That way, you're more apt to build more heroes, more operators, because you're getting chances at extra pulls, which would be a really nice addition. I know there's the Paradox Challenge from some of the max heroes, but just overall, in a general sense, getting a little bit extra out of pulling, because there are a lot of resources that go into spending for these units, so anything they could do to help the free-to-play players get more pulls would be fantastic. So as you can see, we got her to E1, level 55, we took her to skill level 7, and I can't do the specialization yet for her. I'm not sure what that entails. I'm excited to finally be able to do one eventually, but I do have to have them at E2. But I've got the training room open, so whenever I get to that point, I'll be able to try it and talk about what it does. Now, one thing I normally don't add is the recruitment tab, unless, maybe I pull something really cool, but this is mainly because I got a new hero for the first time in a while. The last one was Midnight. Most of the time I'm pulling 3 stars that already have like Papa Car. I haven't got any great tags yet. I've been getting, ever since pulling Gravel out of the headhunting, I've ironically pulled the fast redeploy and the specialist tabs quite often now. So I guess the game just really wanted me to work hard for her, and then I finally get rewarded. But either way, I made like 2 or 3 prestige ranks towards Gravel, so it's been pretty nice with that so far. I got some Shaw pulls, but I normally don't talk about it. But this here is the second mission of the guard chipset. So initially my idea is to take Lapland to E2 as my second E2 hero, because the 5-second silence that unlocks at E2 is going to be very, very nice going forward. There's a lot of things I can use that for, a ton of enemies that the silence would absolutely obliterate, because a lot of times, especially when it comes to like the Originium slugs through Act 4, where they're just blowing up and wiping out a lot of my team, getting rid of them with the silence is very crucial, because then I don't have to drop vanguards or something to bait, and I can just kind of run them all through at the same time. But I wanted to show this one in slow-mo because I like the pullback. As you'll see here, he just gets whipped all the way back in front of her. Gavial's second skill is honestly the most enjoyable thing in this game, so probably gonna have to be my favorite hero. I am sorry, Swire. I'm sorry for everyone that enjoys Swire like I do. Gavial's ability is just so much fun. I laugh at it every time I see, especially like the lumberjacks as they go by and they're just slowly being dragged back to their demise. It's the most enjoyable thing I've found in this game so far. But of course I will still be using Swire, and I'd like to try to include her a lot more going forward, trying to do some harder missions with her, or maybe just, do some type of series where I'm going through and completing the missions with very limited stuff and using Swire as my, so basically Swire Knights, I guess, would be how to put it. But this is a good showcase for Lapland herself, because not just Lapland, but Gavial in the middle here is very, very strong. So I'll throw her in. Once she has her ability up, I can take out any tanky enemies, but Lapland is silencing them so they do not blow up and destroy a lot of my units. So this one, where it would normally be really hard because there's not a lot of places to drop units, I now am able to easily clear it with the help of Lapland. So if you don't have the hero, I wish you luck in grabbing her, or maybe you have a silence alternative. But essentially, the more I delve into the deeper and harder content, the more I'm realizing that the silence ability is going to be somewhat paramount. So very happy with the event giving me that chance to pick up Lapland, and I think I made the right decision overall. As you can see here, the Gavial pull in the middle of this whole section is so good. They just all melt so fast. The extra damage she gets is amazing. And it's not just that the second skill is her best, because I don't know. I think they're all situational. I think she is a very complex hero in the sense that she can do multiple different tasks. Now, one thing I do want to say, because I'm going to go through each of the ones of the extra missions in the event, the current event that I've completed so far, I want to say, for anyone that may be having a hard time with these, think of the cars as your main operator, what you're going to use to beat everything with, and think of your regular team, your squad, as the support units. So every single one of them has their place, has their thing to do, but the cars are going to do most of the work for you. You can put, if you're having a hard time sustaining, you can put the heal on pass by on. I like to run Infinite Fist because I don't want to click constantly, but I'm also starting to run it with the paradoxical explosion because I didn't realize just how strong that ability is. It blows up for, on the smaller Durans, like 2,000 damage or more with just one of them, and you can apparently put 2 different ones on, though I do like the Infinite Fist, as I say, so I'd like it to do it for me so I'm not constantly clicking. It's a bit more annoying to watch unless I'm doing like auto deploy, so I thought it'd be easier in that way to show that. But using the attack speed, the healing, the extra skill points on pass by, all of these are going to help you immensely in clearing this. But I'm going to show off more of the paradoxical explosion here because I want to show you just how important it is, because as you're getting to these tankier units, you're going to have a harder time if you have a low-end squad like I do to actually get through missions like this. Now, I did borrow a Blimmenshine from Yao or Yowie, I'm not sure how to pronounce their name, but thank you for the Blimmenshine because he was actually very good for this mission. The cars as they drive by require 3 blocks, so her having that plus having the arts damage to take it out because it is extremely tanky against anything that's not arts damage. So all in all, it was just a good combination that worked extremely well for dealing with these heroes. But you see it's hitting the robot and blowing up, but it's doing damage off that blow up. So while my people are blocking, I'm doing constant damage to them, and it does it in an area about the block that it blows up in. It should hit on the left and right side of it, or the 4 squares touching the actual middle block where it blows up. So do keep that in mind. Now, there's going to be some maps that it's not always easy to get a good spot to blow the car up and get the most damage out of it, but for the most part, there are always options. And even if you don't use the explosive part of it, you can use the ramming. I still only have the 200% drill on the front, and it does 900 damage to the regular enemies. So if you have the 400% one, that's a lot of damage. You're going to have probably a pretty easy time. But as you see there, I took out the volleyball launcher with just the car driving through before I put my arts guard out. And the one up top is going to be taken out as well. Very, very easy to do. Saves you a ton of resources because they are very cheap to deploy. The main thing is making sure that if it's driving long distances and not getting multiple passes, that you have some type of healing sustain, because as you see there, I didn't, and 2 of my heroes went down. Not that it's a problem because I'm at a pretty good spot in it. I have what I need to complete it, but overall you just got to be really careful with how you do it. All in all, I'd say maybe take a moment before you go into an actual stage to check the map and think about what the best possible drive path for each cart is, because realistically, if you're planning it out and you have decent gears, you shouldn't have that hard of a time with it. It may be daunting at first, especially when you see, like this one I believe was recommended level of E2 level 10, and I only have one E2 hero. Most of mine are around E1 level 45, so severely underleveled in that sense. But with the car, it just changes it completely. That's why I say these missions are so good when you have full control and full understanding of just what these are capable of. And as you can see, there's one spot where you can deploy a hero on the top right over here, and I put Myrtle up there. Probably not the greatest location, but realistically, there wasn't that many great locations. I was worried at first that these were going to pass through, but they go a little at a time. They spawn one at a time and come through. Very easy to deal with. They stay long enough for your car to go through and actually blow up at the top and take them out. Now, at one point, a ton of the ranged Durans come out, and they will pack quite a punch. But as long as you've got good sustain and you're passing the healing car through like I was doing there, I think that was kind of what was necessary for me to be able to complete it. But you can keep the wave out from the middle and then just take all these guys out again with the explosion. Now, if you don't have the explosion, I would recommend putting another arrow down at the top corner and just letting it pass twice. You could do the stun if you want. You could do the extra damage one, because that one's going to be even better overall, because once it passes through, it's probably going to do about as much as the explosion itself. So you really, realistically, you don't have to worry about it. Now, I know I'm showing all these missions back to back, and I'm sorry if it's a little boring or a little slow. I don't know, as far as the people that watch my content, how far they are in the game. Some of them could be new. There's probably a lot of veterans. I know I get a lot of comments from veterans, so most of them are not going to need help. But it's really just a sense of, if people do watch my videos and they don't really go for guides, they want to try to do it like I do, where it's blind, then, you know, maybe they could learn a thing or two from this, because I'm not necessarily showing you the best options for this, just ways that I was able to complete it. This one in particular was a bit of an annoyance, because I did lose it quite a few times, not because I inherently placed things in the wrong spot, but more so those unpassable guards that come from the top will start to load up in cars, and the most annoying part about that is that you'd finally beat the car. Sometimes it'd be the explosion from my car that's passing through, and then they'd spill out and they'd run through everybody, and one of them would get through. So through a lot of trial and error, and I mean a lot, because one of the stragglers got by at least 5 different times. It was very annoying, but I ended up putting Mustima in to sit on the lane with it. In case any of the stragglers got by, I could use her second ability to kind of freeze them in place, so I can guarantee that I do enough damage before they get through, and that's what ended up saving the run at the end. But I know for a free-to-play player, obviously having Mustima is a bit of a game of luck in that sense. There's going to be other options for it. One I can think of would be Ethan, because he has the chance to bind people in place. I don't know how often he does that, as I personally haven't used him yet, but there are other options. Like, you could change the car to do freeze as it passes by, or the pushback, the stun. There are plenty of options. Like I said, the game gives you basically everything you need. It's all about applying. But I go to the new banner, and on the second single pull, I ended up getting the 5-star from the guaranteed the first 10. And unfortunately with Skyfire, it wasn't any of the new ones, but coincidentally, I ended up using Skyfire to complete mission SK5, which gives the big building materials that you need, the big blocks. So, actually worked out, and I got to use her meteor ability, which is really cool to watch, though all in all, it's iffy whether it's a better option, but I do like the look of it. I do like the idea of it, because I like to see the big numbers when they pop up. I don't get to see that often. I don't have a lot of crazy heroes yet, so seeing those big numbers pop up is always a joy to see. So with this one finished, I have finished all of the missions in the SK category of the side missions, so I can actually go in and farm the carbon bricks to use to upgrade my base a little more. So now it's going to be a little faster going. This is what I've currently got. I built the 3 factories on the bottom now. I still don't know if I should replace one of those power plants. I probably will, if that's an option. I don't remember if it's actually switchable, but either way, you know, I've got a good setup, and this is an overview of what I'm using currently as far as heroes. There's not really many upgrades. Obviously I got Myrtle to E2, which was huge. Gable the Invincible is up pretty decently far. Lapland's going to be my next E2, more than likely, and it's been the biggest improvement for my account. But one thing I do want to check, because I could do Korra, or I could try to do someone like Zerny, because he seems really good, maybe more niche because it's arts blocking, but if somebody who uses him a decent amount could let me know, you know, just how viable he is throughout the game, that'd be great, because I don't want to waste too many resources if I'm not going to use him that often. Now, other notable upgrades were really more heroes that I pulled that I haven't upgraded yet. One of them being Jay, and Ethan's one that I'm probably going to work on as well, because I want to test him out and see what he's capable of. But all in all, you know, didn't have to make that much improvements, and I made a lot of progress in the game. So it just goes to show just that they give you so much out of this. Oh, Maya as well will be one that I'm taking up soon, because I really need her moving forward, and plus for the class change later. I know about that one because of the support unit. Somebody has the guard version of her, so I know that's coming, but it's going to be really exciting when I get to that point. So I'm going to level her up over time, probably in this next week if possible. Need a new medic for Gavial since I can't use the alt and her at the same time, so probably Silence, though people can let me know what they think on the options. But anyway guys, I'm going to go ahead and let the video play out just to show you what I've got left to work with, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.